Of course, each of the LGUs can generate their own fund. We can provide us, I think, the House did, the different sources of financing. But that is over and above the obligation of the state to assume this responsibility, because this is an entirely new responsibility. It's not, and it's even a more heavy burden than any other state responsibility.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Congressman.
Madam Chair, well, we are very much aware of the concerns as far as this bill is concerned. And at this point in time, Madam Chair, with your permission, may we hear a word or two from the author himself?
Congressman Golez.
Thank you very much, the co-chairman of the panels. Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like, as principal author, to thank the two chairmen of the House, the Committee on Reorganization and the Committee on Ecology, Congressman Fabian and Congresswoman Cabilao, because they really worked hard on this, and they worked fast on this also. And of course recognize the fact that in the House, in plenary, just to show you how important we consider this breezed through plenary debate, because everybody is aware of the problem. As a backgrounder, this presentation became really fully aware of the problem of climate change when I had the good fortune of witnessing in person the presentation of former Vice President of the United States, Albert Gore, when he made what I considered an awesome presentation here in Manila, sponsored by Ambassador Alyoshenko. I was one of the few privileged to witness that presentation. And one of the things that really struck my attention was his warning that if we don't do anything about it, here in the Philippines, in the Manila Bay Area, it's possible that in just a few years, a few million might be dislocated when the sea level would change by maybe 1 or 2 meters. That was quite an awe-inspiring presentation. And a few days after, this was in February 2006, a few days after, I delivered a privileged speech in the House in order to dramatize and assess and assert the importance and impact of climate change and global warming. But of course, nothing came out of it because it was too close already to the upcoming 2007 election. I refiled this bill, and I'm so happy that with the cooperation and work of the two chairs, Congressman Fabian and Congresswoman Cabilao, this was passed in committee and finally in plenary. The impact of climate change cannot be underestimated. It is going to have an impact on food production, on demography, on security, on geography, on our natural resources, on the economy, of course. It's going to cost billions of pesos and billions of dollars, maybe trillions, if you look at it from a worldwide point of view. And climate change, while the role of local government units is going to be very important, it must be a collective effort. This is like a pandemic. It cannot be that only one country will act on it. It cannot be that only one province or only one region will act on it, because it will affect the entire country. So it needs a collective effort. In my bill, distinguished chairpersons, I emphasize the fact that there's a need for a thorough study. The jury, in my opinion, the jury is still out as far as the comprehensive impact of climate change is concerned. The jury is still out on whether we need adaptation or mitigation. So it must be a combination of this. I was looking at the version of the Senate, and I see no fundamental differences. I think there are some things there that I personally can easily accept. For example, in the case of the organization, I see the wisdom of having the president on top with a very strong executive organization headed by an executive director who will be the one to oversee and supervise the technical and administrative aspects of it. And it's good that I think we can pass this soon, and I see no encumbrance as far as the President signing this into law as soon as we agree in the BICAM. That will be good because I understand that in December there's going to be one big climate change meeting in Copenhagen. A lot of people already preparing for it, IPCC, and perhaps it will be very timely that the President would, that the Philippines would be represented by a full-time executive director, a full-fledged agency head, not just a task force head or a special committee head, but no less than an agency head representing the Philippines in that upcoming big climate change conference in Copenhagen. Thank you, distinguished chairperson. Thank you very much.
We thank you for your interventions, and we would like to propose that while there are many similarities, there are some differences between the two versions. May I propose then to the House panel that we adopt or discuss the major disagreeing provisions first, which will be flashed on screen, so we can tackle that before we go to things like the title. So we'll proceed first with the structure of the commission. Can we have it first, please? The President is the chairperson. The House version is attached to the office of the President, headed by a chairperson. Cabinet rank. But both have two commissioners now.
Distinguished chairpersons, may I just propose that we include as one of the ex-officio members, whatever version we will adopt, we include as one of the ex-officio members the Director General of the National Security Council, because climate change is going to be one heck of a national security problem if ever it will really come to pass. A dislocation of a few 100,000, maybe 1 million people is a national security concern, and it's very important that the National Security Council be represented in the Commission.
Okay. If I may suggest, I think we've got to clarify first the concept, because I'm a little bit confused about the commission. First, under either version, I'm trying to look for the regular members of the commission and to define any commission. Who are the regular members? Like, I'm immediately confronted with a long list of ex-officials. So when you say ex-official, that means that there must be some regular. Secondly, there is a proposal to appoint a vice chair, which is representative of, reflective of his experience in science, public making, etc., and then an executive director who will be the administrative head. I thought, this two-headed type of monster